Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Azra Najwa and I'm from English Education 2024. Here I want to read about teaching narrative reading by using the subtext strategy for Islamic senior high school students. The objectives of this study were to find out whether or not there was a significant improvement before and after the treatment on the 11th grade students' reading comprehension score at one Islamic senior high school in Palembang by using the subtext strategy and to find out whether or not there was significant difference on the 11th grade students' reading comprehension scores between the students who were taught by using subtext strategy and those who were not. In the study, quasi-experimental design using pretest, protest, non-qualifying groups design was used. There was 16 students taken as sample. Each class consists of 30 students from class 11 social 2 as control group and class 11 social 3 as experimental group. In collection, the data reading comprehension test was used. The test was given twice to both experimental and control group as a pretest and post-test. To verify the hypothesis, the data of pretest and post-test were analyzed by using independent sample t-test and paired sample t-test in SPSS program. The findings showed that the p output from paired sample t-test was 0, which was lower than 0 and 5, and t-value 11 and 3099 was higher than t-table with df 29. The result of p output from independent sample t-test was 0 and 1, which was lower than 0, 5, and the t-value 300 for 3465 was higher than t-able with df5t8. It means that teaching reading narrative text is by using subtext strategy had significant effect on the students' reading comprehension scores. Introduction. English is a global language that cannot be spared from our daily life. It becomes an important language since most of the people use English as their daily communication. English is global language which is widely used various countries and various fields. In addition, Mapes and Johari states that English language is one of the most spoken language in the world of today. Similarly, Wisbika also states that English is the most widely used language in the world. It suggests at last in 115 million people use English fluently as foreign language. Besides used in science, technology, and art, English can be a tool to get the aim at economic trade, international relations, social, cultural purpose, and education with developing career. According to Sarifian, English as an international language refers to a paradigm of thinking, research, and practice. This reality encourages many countries to put English into the formal schools curriculum that will be taught from elementary schools until universities, and one of two countries of Indonesian. In Indonesian, English is very important to be mastered. Maritama and Hamdan state that English language tech, teaching becomes increasingly important as the first foreign language in Indonesia. Therefore, the government requires that all schools in Indonesia, especially at the high schools level, to make English as one of subjects test in the national examination. According to Lauder, it is widely recognized that English is important for Indonesian, and the reason most frequently put forward to this is that English is global Indonesian language. Reading has an important role in English. According to Understone, reading is essential skill for learners of English. For most of learners, it is the most important skill to master to order to ensure success in learning. With strengthened reading skills, learners of English tend to make greater progress in other areas of language learning. In addition, Abdullah, Sabat, Tipan, and Hassan state that reading is the most integral part in language learning. Students with strengthened reading skills will be able to progress and attain greater development in all academic areas. Furthermore, according to McLecky and Jeffries, reading English is important for some reasons, such as 1. Reading is English help students learn to think in English. 2. Reading in English help students build their English vocabulary. And 3. Reading in English makes students more comfortable with writing in English. That is why by reading students can increase their knowledge and ability in English. In Indonesia, reading still become a problem for the students. World Bank and EAA described that east of Asia, Indonesian people had two lowest level in reading English texts. Indonesian students' reading skills is lower than other countries. The main scores of Indonesian students was 397, while of OECD of average score was 493. The position rank of Indonesian in PISA rating is 62 out of 7 countries participating reported from program for international student assessment 115. The data show that Indonesian reading skills is still poor. It meant that Indonesian students need a strategy to improve their reading skills, probably in narrative reading comprehensions. Also happened to 11 grade students of MA Patra Mandiri Palembang, one Islamic senior high school in Palembang. Based on the informal interview with the teacher of English in the 11 grade students, there was many problems that students faced in learning reading. The problem were: 1. The students had lack of motivation in reading English. 2. The students had poor vocabulary, so they were not able to grasp the meaning easily. 3. The student could not predict the content of the narrative text. 4. The students got difficulty to identify the character of the narrative text. And 5. Some of the students took too much time in comprehending the text. It happened because there was no interesting way to attract their interest in narrative reading text. Therefore, the students felt bored in reading narrative text and lazy to comprehending narrative text. Besides, the average score of the students' comprehension in narrative reading text was lower than report and analytical exposition text. In relation to the of the subtext strategy, a study by Sastra showed that the use of subtext strategy successfully improved the student reading comprehension skills. In addition, the second study written by Adela also reported that there was a significant effect of using subtext strategy on reading comprehension of the students in senior high school. The study was designed to know whether or not there was significant improvement of the 11 grade student narrative reading comprehension achievement who are taught by using subtext strategy, and to know whether or not there was significant difference of the 11 grade students narrative reading comprehension achievement between those who were taught by using subtext strategy and those who were not. Literature reading comprehension and narrative text. Reading comprehension is the main purpose of reading activity. Our readers intended to have connection to the material that they read. Of course, the process of reading comprehension is also complex, and it takes time for a reader to acquire the meaning of the reading material. According to Dom and Sophos, comprehending involves interpreting of synthesizing ideas in ways that influence the reader's mind. The readers need to be able to figure out the author's purpose presenting the material. Comprehending some valuable information states in the passage in relations to comprehending the overall content of reading materials. Furthermore, what states is reading comprehension can be defined as an active thinking process through which as a reader international construct meaning to form deeper understanding of concept on and information presented in text. Reading comprehension in reading to text to get the meaning and understanding of the text. Wally explains that reading comprehension is the process of making meaning from the text. Reading comprehension is reading to text to get the meaning and understanding of the text. From the definition above, it can be assumed that reading comprehension is an interactive process between reading and text and comprehend the writer passage. Narrative is text type that tells about story, whether true story or fictional. However, the general purpose of narrative text is to entertain and engage the reader in an imaginative experience, but actually there are many other purposes of narrative text. It is supported by Knapp and Watkins, who adds that narrative has powerful social role beyond that of being of medium for entertainment, and it is also a powerful medium for changing social options and attitudes. Subtext strategy. Several theories about subtext strategy have been studied by a number of experts. Leland Lewis and Hertz divine that subtext strategy helps students to identify meaning that are not explicitly stated in text. It asks students to thinking about the various characters in story and write down what they say, as well as what they are thinking. In addition, Kayet states that subtext strategy engages making personal connection, developing increasingly strategies inferencing skills, empathizing with character, and understanding perspective difference from their own subtext strategy enable to students to reflect critical on text and writing, but development deeply on their own thought and feelings as they consider and situation of characters. According to Waiton, subtext strategy is appropriate for grade level in K-12. It is equal with senior high school level in Indonesian. The strategy can be applied in fiction text. It could be also be applied to some non-fiction readings, such as history or social studies text. Because of that, this strategy can be applied in fiction and non-fiction text. One strategy above can be cited as strategy which allow the student to contribute to other students about some information from what they are reading. The information can be derived from what they understand and their background of knowledge. Then the students can get additional information about the reading topic in order to attack the new information of the similar topic being read. Leland, Lewison, and Hars approves that the step of subtext strategy are: one, students read the story and identify the various character. Two, teacher gives a note of each color for each main character design, one color for saying notes and the other color for thinking notes. Three, students create two notes for each main character. Now one they write what the character saying, that the other what the character thinking. Four, students use the saying and thinking notes to identify large issues. Method: research design, research site and participant. This study used a quasi-experimental design, pre-test, post-test, and a equivalent groups design. There was two groups, experimental and control group, which was given the same pretest and post-test. The experimental group was given treatment by using subtext strategy, but the control group was not. The population of this research was 11 grade students of MA Patra Mandiri Palembang, one of Islamic Senior High School in Palembang. Meanwhile, the sample were taken by using convenience sampling. This African Wallen and Hyun claim that a convenience sampling is a group of individuals who are available for study. The sample of this study were 11 social 2 and 11 social 3. The writer selected class 11 social 2 and 11 social 3 as sample because when the writer was conducting an observation there, the teacher of English said two classes were of virtually the same level and they were available to be studied. The total number of sample was 60 students, 30 students from each class. Data collection and analysis. In this study, we used reading comprehensions test in the form multiple choice to collect the data. The test item in the pre-test were the same as two of post-test because the purpose of giving them was to know the progress of students' reading comprehension scores before and after treatments. Pre-test was given before the treatment. The purpose The purpose of giving pretest to the student was to know the student's English reading comprehension scores before implementing subtext strategy. Meanwhile, post-test was given after the treatment. The protest was administered to know the student's English reading comprehension scores after implementation subtext strategy. The result of this test was compared to the result of the pretest in order to measure the student's progress taught by using subtext strategy. The data analysis techniques used was qualitative. In analysis, the data obtained from quasi-experimental design were calculated by means of SPSS 20 software in order to see whether there was a significant improvement before and after they were treated by using subtext strategy. T-test was used as inferential statistical analysis. Findings, distribution and frequency data. In distribution of frequency data, score, frequent and percentage were analyzed. The score was obtained from 1 protest scores in control group, 2 post-test score in control group, 3 pre-test scores in experimental group, and 4 protest score in experimental group. Based on the result analysis of the students' pre-test scores in control group, it showed that 2 students got 32, 3 students got 14, 2 students got 42, 2 students got 45, 4 students got 47, their students got 15, 1 student got 15 to 52, 3 students got 55, 3 students got 57, 4 students got 16, 1 student got 62, 1 student got 65, and 1 student got 70. Based on the result analysis of student pretest process in control group, it showed that 1 student got 40, 1 student got 47, 1 student got 50, 1 student got 52, 5 students got 55, 1 student got 57, 5 students got 16, 2 students got 62, 6 students got 6, 2 students got 67, student got 70, 1 student got 72, and 1 student got 75. Based on the result analysis of the students' pre-test score in control group, it showed that 1 student got 32, 5 students got 35, 3 students got 37, 1 student got 42, 2 students got 45, 2 students got 47, 5 students got 15, 1 student got 52, 4 students got 55, 1 student got 57, 2 students got 16, 1 student got 62, 1 student got 65, and 1 student got 67. From the analysis above, it was found that there was 1 student got 15, 1 student got 52, 4 students got 16, the student got 62, 5 students got 65, 1 student got 67, 4 student got 17, 2 students got 72, 5 students got 75, 1 student got 77, and 3 students got 80. In described statistic, the total of sample and minimum and maximum scores mean score standard deviation were analyzed. The score were obtained from 1 pre-test scores in control group, 2 post-test score in control group, 3 pre-test scores in experimental group, and 4 protest score in experimental group. Normally test. In measuring normal test, 1 sample Kolmogorov Smirnov is used. The data normal signs to P output higher than 0.5. Homogeneity. In measure homogeneity test, least static was used. The data is homogeneous since the P output is higher than 0.5. Result of hypothesis testing. In the study, part sample T used to measure significant improvement on students' narrative reading comprehensions achievement score took by using subtext strategy at one Islamic senior high school in Palembang. before and after treatment. Independent sample t-test was used to measure a significant difference on students' noted reading comprehensions or achievement score took by using subtext strategy in those who were not. Based on the table analysis, it was found that the p output and t-value, it can be stated that there are significant improvement from student pre-test to post-test score in experimental group taught by using subset strategy. Since p output is lower than, it can be stated that the null hypothesis is reject an alternative hypothesis. From the table analysis, it was found that the p output was 0 and 1, and the value t value is 343,465. It can be stated that there was significant difference on students' reading comprehension scores taught by using subtext strategy, since the p output was lower than 0.5 and the t value was higher than t above. Therefore, it can be concluded that the null hypothesis was rejected and the alternative hypothesis was accepted. Discussion. But the findings above some based on the finding above, some interruptions were made of followers after conduction. The research was found that were a significant improvement from students pre-test post-test scores in experimental and control group from the result of higher sample t-test analysis. In other words, student reading comprehension or achievement in experimental group improved after they were took by using subtext strategy. Meanwhile, students reading comprehension or achievement in control group also improved, but not as significant as the experimental group did. At the beginning, the pre-test in both control and experimental were conducted. After the student pre-test score obtained from control and experimental group were choose we chose 11 social 2 as a control group and 11 social 3 as experimental group. It was because the student score in control group were higher than student score in experimental group. It was also proven by the means of the pre-test in 11 social 2, which was higher than 11 social 3. It could happen because the students of 11 social 3 seems bored in doing the task. They were lazy to read the provide text in the text. Thus, they answered the question without comprehending the texts. Conclusion. There are some conclusions that can be drawn from this research referring to findings and impression present in the previous chapters. First, based on the result of pre-test to post-test, subtext strategy significantly improved students' reading comprehension score to 11 grade students of one Islamic senior high school in Palembang. Second, there was significant difference on students' reading comprehension score to the 11 grade students who were taught by using subtext strategy and those who were taught by strategy, the ways usually used by the teachers of one Islamic senior high school in Palembang. Therefore, it can be inferred that the teaching reading comprehension in narrative text by using subtext strategy can be considered as an alternative strategy that can be used. I think that's all. Thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.